Good afternoon. It is Saturday, April 26th, I believe, in the year of our Lord the Great Orange Trump. Today was at the Pope's funeral. The protocol is wear a black suit. Everybody's wearing black. He shows up in blue. This guy can't do anything without being a complete embarrassment. It's like, can you just fucking, for one time, act like a fucking regular person? Like, nope. Then he chats with Zelensky and he comes out, I think I'm getting played. Like, it's like, you think? I think it might be possible. Um, they've been out of my Peroni for the last week, maybe or so, so I had to switch to the old Stella. I don't know if it's a tariff situation or what,
Yeah.
but they've been out, and it is Saturday.
Stella is good. Stella is not a bad deal.
Yeah, so you know what that means. That
Yeah.
means that our friend, host of History on Fire podcast, my friend Mr. Daniele Bolelli, is here with us. Thank you, Daniele. How are you?
Very welcome. Thank you for having me. Doing good. I'm on a lazy afternoon. I cook a great risotto, but that meant I opened a bottle of Prosecco. I usually try not to do drinking at lunch. I broke my own rules, so now I'm all lazy and quiet and just zoning out
I
and
never
all
liked
that.
day drinking. People are like,
No,
that's
no, but no, but
because,
yeah,
yeah,
I remember one time, man. I'll tell you this one. This was funny. I remember this one time when I went with a friend of mine. We went to this branch, and it was like a mimosa branch, so they keep bringing you mimosa one after another.
right.
So I was buzzed as hell by the time it was done, and it was a rough period in my life. It's like maybe it was only like less than a year since my wife died. I'm taking care of my daughter, and so I don't have many occasions to let loose and relax or something. It was always, and this one day I got to do this thing, and then there's a friend of mine who's going to watch my daughter for a couple of hours, so I get to go train jujitsu for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm buzzed as hell, right? I go train jujitsu, and I'm having the time of my life. I'm all flowy, I'm having the greatest time. It's all, and then this one guy catches me in a guillotine choke. And the moment he catches me, like my whole buzz goes from perfectly happy buzz to no buzz at all in 1 second. It
Right.
just like it evaporated out of my consciousness.
Right. He's like, I
And
might
I
die.
got so pissed. I was like, yeah, I was like, this has been my moment of happiness in the last 6 months. This is my moment of, and you just took it away from me. And this poor guy was just doing honest jujitsu, but in my mind, I was like, it's all because of you. And I remember just diving on this guy's leg, planting an ankle lock, and be like, "Arr, arr, arr, arr."
He's like, hey man,
And
settle
this
down.
guy just, yeah, the guy is doing nothing wrong, but
Right.
it's like,
He's like, I
in
could have just
context,
choked
he
you
was
out,
my,
but I didn't.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it was funny.
And now you're trying to break my fucking leg. Like,
Yeah,
it's like that, man.
yeah, that's how it is. Yeah,
Especially as you get
sometimes it's like, but I agree with you on the no day drinking. Usually is a bad idea because then you're just out of it the whole day and stuff. But
yeah.
today, there's this risotto that I cook that it just has to have either white wine or prosecco or something like that. And normally I cook it for dinner, but it's the weekend. I made it for lunch, and so like, let's go for it.
Let's go for it. I mean, look around you. Like, what the fuck else are you gonna do? It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Fuck it. Let's play. Take what you can while you can, right?
yes, it seems like all the normal protocols of life are slowly being
Yeah.
erased.
Did you ever, during COVID, were you drinking more than usual?
No, because like unlike most people, like my job never stopped because I worked at the grocery
Oh, I
store.
see. I see.
So,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
as a
So
matter of fact, they were like, you can work as much overtime as you want, and
gotcha. Gotcha.
so I basically I worked. I was working
Yes.
like
Yeah.
10 or 12 hour days every day.
Damn. That's
And then
wild.
I would take off, or on Tuesdays, my friends would come over and we'd sit on the patio, other comics and
Nice.
shit, and we would drink then. But
Nice.
no, to tell you the truth, I used to be a drunk. Like
Mhm.
when I ran a nightclub, I
Yeah.
drank every day,
Yeah. Yeah.
and heavily. Not
Yeah.
not like
Right.
and so, and once I realized like, okay, might be a drunk, like I
Yeah.
stopped drinking for a while. I didn't drink at all, and I've never really
Yeah. Yeah.
drank that much after that.
Yeah.
I
Of
drink like
course.
one time a week, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Because I mean, it's like anything, right? Alcohol is, it can seriously be a blessing if done in small amounts. It's like one of those things that make you happy, that make everything pleasant, takes the edge off. But if you get past the small amounts and you really drink, then it really fucks up your life. And it's as bad as a drug as anything you can think of, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. It's like anything else, you know. It's like even the worst drugs,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
cocaine, can be fun. If you could
yeah,
just
yeah,
do it like, every
yeah,
now and then, like it's New Year's Eve, for a special party, or whatever. If you could just do it like that, then it's not bad. It's recreational drug like anything
yeah,
else.
yeah, yeah,
It's the fact that
of course.
you get hooked on it. And drinking is the same
Yeah,
way. You can
yeah.
get addicted. You start drinking every day. You don't even realize it. You know.
No, exactly. And then suddenly you're like, oh, whoa, I'm cleaning out a bottle a day. That's a problem, you know?
Yes, I used to drink.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding you. I drink almost every day a 6 pack of
Hmm.
beer and half a bottle of vodka.
Yeah, yeah, that's a lot.
And I never
That's a
even
lot.
realized that until one day I was like, I looked and was like, wow, I just brought this bottle of vodka and it's half gone. Like, oh, fuck.
Yeah,
Is that
that's the problem.
you're doing shots all night,
Yeah,
which you
yeah,
do 4 or 5 shots, you just drank half a bottle of liquor.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
um,
Yeah, that becomes yeah, that's when you know he's like, okay, time to switch gears because this is gonna fuck up my life for sure.
that's always been my problem. Like same as cocaine. Like I used to do cocaine when I lived in Florida, and then I got kind of hooked on it, and had to pull
Huh?
myself out. Like, hey, this is this is out of hand, But uh, if I do anything, I do it to the maximum. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 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 of
Like
course.
super
But yeah,
addictive.
there are certain things that you don't want to do to the max.
Yes, for sure. It's not like, oh, you're doing like an eight
Yeah,
ball every day, or you don't have to do that. You get, even you just go to work
nah,
and be like, oh, we're gonna get a half an 8 ball and split it or whatever. But still, you wind up you're snorting all night.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You're doing drugs all night. You know. Um,
yeah, exactly,
but
exactly.
I used to work in these bars, and you're every night you're going to a party. You know, it's hard to separate that from.
Um,
It becomes your lifestyle. Like, oh, I'm just hanging out in the bar every night.
you know, yeah, of course. You know what's funny is that for me, I never had that. Like, anytime I've enjoyed, because to me, it's like the way I grew up in Italy is like there's no. I mean, maybe there is an age where you're supposed to not drink or something, but nobody enforces it. So it's like a lunch with your grandparents. They give you a tiny bit of wine at whatever age. Doesn't matter.
Right.
But to me, it's a healthy way because it kind of teaches you how to drink right. It's like the idea is, you have a tiny bit and it's fun, and you have a tiny bit more and you had a headache. So don't get a tiny bit more. Keep it within certain reason.
Right.
So there's a culture that you don't drink to get drunk. You drink because it's a pleasant feeling and it's mellow and it adds to the meal and that kind of thing. And so to me, I enjoyed, that's why I never really drank in bars ever. It was always like I always drink something at home with dinner or with a couple of friends who come by, or it's always associated with food. It's never like I just go out to drink type of thing, you know?
Right.
So it's kind of a different experience. You can still fuck up, you can still drink too much and push too hard, but it's a different kind of culture surrounding it, you know?
Sure. And plus you're not driving around and
No,
you know,
definitely not. Yeah,
a lot of it.
that's one thing that I don't have a lot of tolerance for is the drinking and driving. I'm just like, dude, do whatever you want with your life. Drink all you want. Drink even to excess if that's your thing. It's not my life. It's not my business to judge what you do or not do. But don't fucking get behind the wheel of a car. That's just not cool. You know, that's where now you put everybody else's life in danger because of your own shit. That's not cool at all.
Right. Sure. I agree 100%, even though, I can't say I haven't done it
Sure.
1,000 times.
Right, right, right.
not not a good decision.
No,
but
no, those are, and you know, it only takes once because it's like there's a bunch of time where you feel like, I can handle it, I can do it fine, there's never a problem. Man, I had a couple of experiences where a friend of mine had one that was atrocious, where his, I think his wife's sister is out taking their toddler for a walk, and they just get mowed down at a crosswalk by a drunk driver. And then in another case, just out here, just outside my house, some dude at middle of the afternoon at like 3 p.m., 4 p.m., drunk as shit, doesn't see the stop sign, doesn't see my house, and just hits, destroys the fence in the front, goes through a cinder block wall, and finally hits a tree right before he hits my house. And I mean, they're like pieces, 70-pound pieces of cinder block flying everywhere. Or
right.
one landed within like 2 feet of my window or something, you know? And I'm just like, and of course his car was packed with beer everywhere and he was drunk as fuck. And I'm just like, Jesus, man, in what universe did you think this was a good idea? You know? Is
Well, some of those
so
people,
yeah,
they're gone.
yeah,
It's like he doesn't give a shit. He's on autopilot at all times.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's just like these people
pretty
you
much.
hear
And you
them.
know, it's one,
They get on the highway going the wrong way and shit. You're like, how do you
oh
not notice that the
yeah,
cars are coming towards you?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a miracle that more shit doesn't happen because when you think about how many people are drinking, how many people are on some kind of a drug or another, how many people are on pharmaceutical drugs, so they are, you know, they have the pop Xanax or something, or they are on a sleeping pill, or they are, and then how many people are monstrously tired because they have, for whatever reason, they haven't had a good night sleeping forever. So it's like, and all of these people are out on the road driving, and you're like, shit, you know, this is dangerous business for real. It
Yeah.
can get scary very fast.
Yeah, I mean, I spent the last, before I had to come home, I spent the last almost probably 2 years in my car, just driving
Yeah,
all around the country, thousands of miles. And I went all the way from Vegas to up to Washington and down to
yeah,
Arizona and all the way across to New York. I went down to Florida and shit. Like I was driving all over the place. And yeah, like you I've always been a defensive driving is like, and I always tell people that's the most important thing. Like you got to keep your eye on the other people,
yeah,
man, because they're all over the fucking place. They say,
100%. Uh,
like try to
yeah,
stay away
yeah.
from the
No,
other
it's how
people.
it is. I mean, just the other day out here, I see some lady make a left turn where she clearly has no space to make a left turn. And, you know, realistically, the other guy, he was avoidable. Like, but, you know, she was putting the other guy in a position where he had to slam on his brake to
Right.
avoid her. And then she could have crossed through. Shit thing to do because you're putting somebody else on. The other guy I don't know if he was static, if he was drunk, if he just had the reflexes of a 122-year-old or what. But like the guy didn't even bother braking. He just went plowed right into the side of her car and 40 miles an hour, just not even the semblance of braking. So I was like, oh my God, this was a perfect meeting of idiots. You know, one who makes a left was really prudent, and the other one was like, brake, nah, fuck, why brake? And just hit her full strength on the side. I was like, damn, there's a lot of crazy people out there.
For sure. The world is fucking crazy. I always
Yeah,
tell people
yeah,
that
yeah.
it's like every time you go out your door, man.
No, it's scary business for sure. And you know, when it comes to drugs, again, it's like to me, I'm like anybody should be free to do whatever they want with their lives. You know, if you wanna spend your day shooting up heroin, hey, who am I to tell you no? But at the same time, I'm like, who am I to tell you no as long as it's in your house? You know what I mean? Not when you are doing it and then get start driving or when you start doing shit that put other people in danger, you know?
Right.
That's my the big line to me. Is like one is a personal decision on which I don't think is any of my business or anybody's business to say what you should or shouldn't do with your life. Another one is a decision that affect everyone else, and that's a completely different story. You know,
Sure.
that's like no, you know, even fuck, I don't care. Like if you want to kill yourself, what the fuck? Like people are always weird about that stuff because they are like, oh, you know, the beauty of life. Nobody should ever kill themselves. I'm like, what the fuck do I know? What it feels like to be this other person? What do I know about what they went through? How much they are suffering? How much they do or do not find a way out? I don't judge anybody, you know, because it's like I'm not in your shoes. I don't know what it's like to be you. So, I mean, my standard thing has always been whenever somebody was telling me that they were planning on offing themselves, my thing was like, I'm not going to tell you no because I don't know. However, do me a favor, personal favor. Can you wait 3 months? You know, wait 3 months, see how you feel about it. If you, I mean, you're not such a wimp that you can take 3 months of pain if that's what it is. But like, you know, if in 3 months you still see no way out, okay, let's have a second discussion about it. But if you have changed your mind, then well, then it was a dumbass decision to act impulsively on something that was a temporary problem, not a permanent one.
Well, that
And but otherwise it's like I don't have the, you know, I don't have the, I don't know what it's like to be you. I don't feel that I have the right to tell you how you should live. Fuck if I know if you should live or not. Only you know that.
yeah. I've always said that's the problem with suicide is it's like a momentary decision that you can't take back. You know, like once you do it, you're done, you're gone. You know, but
For sure, for sure.
like you said, like a couple hours later, it might have blown over. You know, like he might have like turned on a comedy or something, start laughing, start
Or a
laughing.
month later or something. Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
to my uncle,
My
kind of.
favorites of those are two stories that involve. Oh, sorry. Tell me.
No, my uncle. When my uncle he died this past year,
Yeah.
but when he was dying,
Hmm.
he was like, "Yeah, well, I don't want to live like this." He was, you know, he's suffering. He had like a tube in his stomach and shit. And he was like, "Oh, he wanted to
Yeah.
die." So me and my dad were gonna drive him to Oregon where they have assisted suicide to do it, but turned
Yeah.
out that you had to be a resident of Oregon, so we couldn't do that. So
Right.
we
Of
flew
course.
out there. Then they said, "Oh, California has some kind of program where they'll give you this drink, but he has to take it himself. No one else can give it to him." And then I guess he drinks this
Yeah.
drink, and then he'll pass away. But
Yeah.
me and my dad got there, and just in the process of us being there, we were like cleaning up his house, and we were all, you know, in town stories and talking, and you know, laughing like we always did. And in the process of that, he was like, "I don't think I want to die. I want to live." You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And
Yeah. Well, that's cool. That's cool too. You know,
it
if
was like looking at him was like, well, I don't think that's gonna be a thing, but he didn't want to kill himself anymore.
Yeah,
You know what I
well,
mean?
that's cool too.
And
Totally. And I think that's the point.
he
Is
wound
like
up dying
figure out what.
naturally.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. My favorite of those stories, there's Hitler after he tried the first coup attempt that failed, and he was gonna kill himself. And this is, I don't know, 1933, something like that. I forget the exact time, but like long before he becomes Hitler in the big way.
Right.
And he was gonna kill himself, and then some friends talk him out of it. And
That
then
Hess was like, please don't do it.
exactly, life is beautiful. Think about all
Without
you
you,
can
I
be.
have no
Still.
purpose.
And then the same thing, same exact thing for Stalin. Stalin, after his first wife dies, wants to kill himself, and some people talk him out of it. And so think about it: Hitler and Stalin, some good Samaritans is doing the sweet thing, trying to help them get through it, and we get Hitler and Stalin. It's like, fuck, man. Maybe if you decided to let them be that day, maybe it was better off, you know?
Right. Suicide is so
Yeah.
bad. It's like, go
Yeah,
ahead.
they're like,
Go on,
ah,
man.
you know.
Here's a gun.
Yeah, yeah, man, crazy. No, but I mean, it's hard because, of course, you're right. There's a bunch of people who are sweet, wonderful people who are going through hard times, and suddenly they feel that it's overwhelming. They feel that they would be better off, or everybody else would be better off. But then, honestly, if they waited 3 weeks, they wouldn't feel that way anymore, and something would kick in and they go back to enjoying life. And then there are people who, honestly, week after week, month after month, year after year, they are so fucked up in so much emotional or physical pain that at one point is like, you know what? There is no way up from here. So it's like, if you can live with it, fuck, do your thing, just whatever. But it's rough. Those are big, big, of course it's life and literally life and death stuff. So of course those are big, scary things. And but yeah, my general tendency is I don't tell people yes or no because that's not my business. I tell people just give it some time. If you can wait, please wait a little, just as and again, if and most people are so used to getting opposition to that people want to talk to them into being alive, that they are invested into them having a conversation of like why their life sucks and why they should do it, and they want that fight. And when you don't push back, suddenly they're like, oh shit, yeah, okay, I guess I can wait 3 months. I can check it out, and then they get over it on their own 90% of the time. So but yeah, it's a crazy one.
There's also people that aren't really going to do it.
Yeah, yeah,
They're
of
just
course,
looking
of
for
course.
attention. Like you said,
Yeah, of course.
they really just want you to listen to them go
Yeah,
on
yeah,
about how bad they're terrible their life is. And like they're
and
really
I
not
mean,
gonna kill themselves. You know what I mean? Like you ever
oh
seen
yeah,
those people? Like
oh yeah,
a guy who tells his girlfriend all the time, "I'm gonna kill myself."
right,
It's
right,
like
right.
a form of emotional manipulation, that people use
Totally,
sometimes.
totally.
Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but that's why I think that the way that the world is going now is not sustainable because everybody tries to look at everything in these black and white terms.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing is black and white.
Yep,
Like
yep,
we like the discussion that we were just having. Like suicide, it's a terrible thing, right?
yep,
But if you step
yep.
back, like I said, there are also people who these people exist. I've seen them who
Sure.
use that as a weapon against people emotionally, and they're not
Oh
really
yeah.
gonna do it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep,
so
yep.
it's like it's not just a suicide. This person's gonna commit suicide or not gonna commit suicide. Like, there's always layers to everything
Yep.
that that
Totally,
this
totally.
black and white thinking does not account for. You know, it's like
I agree. I think there are very few things in life that in are absolutes that are black and white. You know, you don't molest kids. Okay, that's black and white. There is
Yes.
no gray zone here. There is no rape. That's fucked up. There is no self-defense rape. You know what I mean? That's fucked up 100% of the time. There are no exceptions. So, there's stuff like that where, yeah, that is black and white, but they are so few, those things in life, that most of them are not. Most of them are not that clear cut. Whereas most of them, like you say, are context dependent. It depends on who, when, who's involved, what's happening. I mean, even think about like the big like Ten Commandments stuff. Is like do not steal. Well, it's like it depends. Under certain circumstances, if somebody is starving, fuck, let them steal. If somebody do not kill, except if it's self-defense, if it's war, if it's this, if it's in defense of some, so it's like there are always exceptions. Few things there are no exception, like what we said, you molest kids, there are zero exceptions to that.
Agree.
But
100%.
other than that, there really aren't too many things that are like that. Most things are like what you're saying, they are very context dependent.
Yeah, and everybody wants to slam everything into, like I said, the simplest terms, and you're uh,
Mhm.
like, oh, he's an illegal immigrant, and he gotta get out. Like, well, you don't know the story. It's
Yeah,
like
exactly.
everybody's got a story, bro. Like you don't even get
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
opportunity to try to tell the story. Like it's like it went from criminals to now it's just like anybody. And you're
Yeah,
like, dude,
I know,
like that
I
was
know.
that was awful
It's insane.
fast. Like I thought you just cared about the criminals. It's the same thing. It's like they
Yeah,
try to
no,
make
and I
it like
mean,
a
and of
black and
course,
white
and then
issue.
there are the.
And it's not that.
Mhm.
And it's never gonna be that.
No, very, very few. Yeah, exactly. Few things in life are black and white, and the immigration one is particularly. Like to me, there's a very simple way to tell if somebody's serious about the whole illegal immigration or not. And never mind the fact that, by the way, I'm assuming that illegal immigration is like I'm going by their assumption that illegal immigration is always bad, which of course is more complicated than that because there are cases where there should be a path to somebody comes illegally. You should figure out a way to legalize the process to but never mind all that discussion. Let's just go with let's say illegal immigration is flat out bad. Let's make that assumption. To me, it's a very easy tell if a politician means business or not, because there's a simple way to fix illegal immigration, which is you take any company that hires somebody illegally and you find them $1 million a day for each infraction. You can guarantee that in about zero point 0.2 seconds, nobody would hire off the books, which means that there wouldn't be jobs available for people crossing illegally because there's an economic incentive, which means you would slow down tremendously the flow of people wanting to come illegally. But of course, why doesn't that happen? And why instead every other asshole is talking about walls and deportation and things is because that's not real. That's just to please their voters who are gonna say, protect me from the big bad illegal immigrants without really doing anything that has a real impact. And why don't they want to do it? Because now they are stepping on the toes of a bunch of powerful industries who have a lot of money who I'm sure put a bunch of money in politicians' coffers to make sure that, like, the meat industry is like, don't fucking touch our workers. Yeah, deport a few, you can take a few, but don't fuck with us. Which is why there are no, like, even if they get caught hiring illegally, is a slap on the wrist on, like, the agricultural industry, the meat industry, all those industries where people are hired off the books. And so to me, it's like when politicians are yelling and screaming about illegal immigration, but they're not doing the one thing that works. I'm like, you don't mean it. You're just trying to pander to the racism of some of your voters, but you're not really trying to do something that truly affects it.
Sure. Like when they raid those places, why aren't they dragging out the manager too? Like, well, you brought in all these illegal
Yeah,
workers.
yeah,
They
yeah,
never do that, do they? They
yeah,
just put the
exactly.
people on the bus or whatever, and and the meat plant just keeps working.
Of course, of course.
It's
That
like,
how it goes because it's like, yeah, deport a few, there will be 10 more who are coming. And in the meantime, you can flex your muscle and talk about how serious and tough you are about illegal immigration. And it's like, it's a scam. It's just a flat out scam that everyone is into. And you just need to do it enough to keep appearances and trick your voters into making it look like you're doing something, but you're not doing shit.
well, it's also like a backdoor way for them to take away our rights, which is what they're doing now.
Yeah,
They
totally.
said today there was a Justice Department memo that was
Yeah,
saying that ICE can come in your house to look for illegal immigrants without a warrant. Like
yeah,
that
no,
that
that's
violates
insane. I mean, and
multiple.
even the stuff, yeah,
Uh,
and even the stuff they have done in universities, just revoking student visas over what? Over attending a protest? Is like, what the fuck? That's insane. And it's happening a lot, like serious numbers. Which, by the way, speaking of doing economic damage, foreign students pay about 4 times as much tuition as an American students to attend an American university. So the amount of money that's being lost because now a bunch of, never mind the ones you're deporting, but also the ones who are not going to apply to American university because now they are like, these people are crazy. They can come and throw you out. So now the number of foreign students wanting to attend American university start plummeting, which of course then means you're way, way, way short of all the money that they were bringing in that was good for the colleges, for the university, for the community at large. And it's like, nice move, dumbass. That was a great way to go against freedom of speech while at the same time losing a bunch of money. Wow, throw in another one in there. You're winning it all. You're doing great. It's
it's
like,
the
what
art of the
the
deal.
fuck? Yeah. Like, let's lose a bunch of our money while we crash freedom of speech.
Right. It's just like we were talking about the tourism. You know how much
Yeah.
money that is? The tourism that
Oh,
no
yeah.
one's coming.
It's a
Like,
bunch.
like you were saying it. I ain't been out there, but you said it in Vegas that they're cutting back because people aren't going.
Yep. Bunch of
And it's like, dude,
Yep.
this
Yeah.
happens
Yeah.
all
And I
over.
think,
This
yeah.
happens
Yeah.
all over.
And I think I told you I had these tours set up to I've done it once before where I take people on like these historical tours and visit places and stuff like that. I did it in Japan once, and we're gonna do it in US this year. We're gonna visit the Little Bighorn battlefield, and we're gonna visit all these kind of old west locations across Montana, Wyoming, South Dakota. And then that company was Canadian. Half of their clients were Canadian. Trump decided to talk about annexing Canada and starting a trade war, and of course, a bunch of people cancel, and we now have to cancel the tour as a whole. And I'm like, motherfucker, just terrible. But on that note, we almost managed to speak for half hour without naming he who shall not be named. So I'll keep the record going well. I'll take my dog for a walk, and then let's update to next week.
Yes, sir. That's it. Thank you as always for joining us. Take care.
Cool,
Tell
my
your daughter
man.
I say
Thank you so
hello.
much. Will do.
All
Have
right.
a great one.
You too.
Thanks.
Yep. Daniele Bolelli, everybody. I love Daniele. Hold on. I got kicked out of the thing again. Um, the he was just talking about the visas. I believe that they backed off on that because they were losing every single court case. Um, see if I can remember the password. Nope. Anyway, they're losing in court, so they backed off of the canceling all the student visas. I don't know why I got kicked out again. They're not going to let me in, are they? I apologize for the technical difficulty. All right, now I'm in. I don't know why it kicks me out. All right, I can see you again. Um, I'd like to thank Daniele for coming by on Saturdays. I said I really enjoy talking with him. If you don't know Daniele Bolelli, he's a history professor at a university. Um, and he also does the History on Fire podcast. He also has a podcast called The Drunken Taoist. So check all that stuff out because he's a really fascinating dude. And we became friends over the internet. And then we wound up meeting in person. So we went from internet friends to personal friends. And at this point, I've been to his house and everything. I mean, we're really friends. And I feel very lucky to have met him and to get to know him. But yeah, like we were saying, life is it's not all black and white like these people want to make it, you know. And they're also massive hypocrites. Like today, like they break any law. They don't give a fuck about the law, right? But then they come out today, they arrest that judge, and they go, or yesterday, and she says, no one is above the law. Like, really, except y'all, right? Oh, I'm sorry, y'all are the law. So, I don't know if I can, Julia. I got kicked out of the chat, and then I had to relog in, and so it just started over. So to see the comments, I'd have to go on Facebook or I mean, I'm sorry, my YouTube page and start scrolling through the comments. I guess I could do that on my phone, but we're not going to do that. We're going to keep talking. We're doing a show here. We're live. As I'm logging in online, as you watch me try to figure out the fucking password and shit. I'm like, which email did I use to set this up? I don't remember. I'm a professional. I'm a professional in the fact that when I decided to do this show, I've been doing it ever since. I haven't stopped. I've done. I said I was going to do 3 days a week at 6 o'clock, and I've done it. I've not taken one day off. I did one show early because I had to go to the baseball game, but I still did the fucking show. So I am a professional in that respect. But as far as the production aspects of all this stuff going on, I'm still quite the amateur. I said, I don't know why I randomly got kicked out of the chat. It just kicked me out. And I don't really. I mean, I won't lie. When Daniele's on, I usually just talking to him. I mean, I still read in the comments, but I don't stop to read them out loud because I don't want to interrupt, him. I'm doing an interview basically. So don't take it that I'm being rude to you, the viewers and the commenters. I'm not. I'm still paying attention to what you're saying. I just don't want to, like I said, interrupt my guest. It's hard enough to. It seems like there's a little bit of a lag between in the connection. So sometimes when I'm talking with him, it's like a second off, and like sometimes I interrupt him inadvertently. I feel like I'm getting better at that, but anyway. So I feel like reading the comments while he's on is like gonna further complicate the situation. So I don't do it. I mean, I read the comments, I see what you're saying, but I'm not gonna read them out loud in the middle of our discussion. It was an interesting discussion. It's always an interesting discussion with Daniele. He's a really interesting dude. Like I said, people like that with depth and substance are rare in today's world. Like I've been all around this fucking country, like I said, and I still only have a handful of friends, real friends that because There's funny people I like, but like I just sit around and talk to them, they ain't got nothing to say. It doesn't mean that they're not good people. There's lots of good people, but there's not a lot of people that you can have really deep, thoughtful discussions with. Um, Especially in the internet, everybody wants to troll. Everybody's trying to troll everybody all the time. Like I thought this guy last night, he wanted to have a real discussion about something, and then he just started like calling me a trumper and shit. Like, and I was like, I'm sorry, I thought you wanted to have a serious discussion. Obviously you don't. You just want to troll me, and I'm not gonna take the bait because it's fucking stupid. Whenever I troll the people that need to be, that need to be trolled, and I didn't just trolling like fucking, like I just tell them how it is. I find the alt right dungeon and go in there and call them all scumbags, until they wanted to kill me. If you're gonna do something, goddamn it, do it right. Like just casually trolling your friend it's fucking stupid. If you're gonna be a troll, you be good at it. Like I said, I used to go like setting it on fire. I'd find a group like an alt right dungeon, and I'd just go in there and I'd just start responding to everything until I got everybody's attention, and then they'd all be like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" And I'm like, "You fucking scumbags!" Then they'd be like, "We want to kill you," and I was like, "Good luck." Here's tell people, you won't be the first, you won't be the last. We're hard to kill. Yes, I said. He's a he's a college history professor. That's why he does the History on Fire podcast. It's basically like a history lecture on whatever, he picks a topic like he's a series about like Crazy Horse, the life of Crazy Horse, and he tells you the whole entire story of the life of Crazy Horse. Through several episodes that each one is like 2 hours long. That's what I'm saying. He don't fuck around. He does all the research. He's a well-read individual. He's got way more discipline than I have to do shit like that. Like, I did most of my serious reading when I was young. Um, I mean, I read still, but not like I used to did when I was young. I read a lot of stuff online now. A lot of news articles, and I don't read books anymore like I used to read books. Now most of my reading intake is, I said, done in magazine articles and news pieces. Um, so I'm still taking in information all the time. I don't think that once you become a person like that, you can stop doing that. That's what I mean. Like I can't. Like I think about it all the time. Like if I just cut off everything, I'd be much happier. If I didn't know everything that was going on. But then, like, what kind of life is that? I'm just gonna go into a shell while the fascists take over my country. I'm not gonna do anything about it. Like, no. That's not even an option. For me personally, I despise people that do that. Like, the reason why we're in this situation is because you checked yourself out. You let these fascists take over the country. You decided that the system wasn't, uh, good enough for you, and it's like people don't get because they're not students of history. That's why I like Daniele because I've always been a history buff. Um, and he's a history professor, so we have a lot, we can talk about because I know a lot more about history than the average person, and so I'm not on his level, but I'm on a level that I can at least hang in a discussion, with him. um, but anyways, if you're not a student of history, like there's a show on Netflix about the Nuremberg trials. And I must confess, I watched it. I've watched it once before, and I rewatched it yesterday. But the guy, I can't remember his name. He was a CBS journalist who was embedded in Berlin all through the Nazi movement. And two things I took away from him. He was embedded in Berlin the entire time of the Nazi regime, and he was still surprised at what was really happening because he didn't know. Which tells you that the average German probably didn't know. You know, like people always say, "Oh, it's hard to think that they didn't know." Well, the camps weren't in Germany; they were in Poland and Austria, I think. Uh, yeah, I think Auschwitz is in Austria, and the other camps were in Poland. So the German people didn't know what was going on. And even this journalist, whose job was to cover the Nazi regime, didn't know what was going on. When he saw the trial, he was like, I can't believe that I did not know, the depth of how bad he's like, I thought it was bad, but it's way worse than I could imagine. Which tells you that people can get away with shit. That's why Trump's hiding this shit in El Salvador or something, because you can get away with things that you couldn't get away with if those camps that, he set up camps in Oklahoma or some shit. Because people would see what was going on. So he's trying to take these people out of the country so that you don't know what happens to them. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to take them and put them in the ovens like the Nazis did, but who knows what they're doing is the point. And you won't find out till after it's done if it's hidden away in another country. And the second impression was what he said was that this can happen anywhere. His children were on, because obviously this man is dead. He wrote the book, The Rise and Fall of Adolf Hitler. His name was William. I can't remember his last name. I apologize. I should have wrote it down. But you can look it up, and you should probably read this book. It's called The Rise and Fall of Adolf Hitler. And it's his firsthand account of watching Nazi Germany as he was an embedded reporter for CBS at the time. But his children and his grandchildren were saying that, well, they shut Gitmo. But yes, in RFK Jr., he's already talking about sending people to some kind of fucking, I forget what he called it, some kind of camp. People that are on Adderall or something. That's what I mean. But if you call these people Nazis, you're... Again, it's like the Russia thing. It's like, it seems like Russia is behind everything that's going on, and yet if you bring it up, they say, it's just a hoax. So yeah, you paid Tim Pool and Benny Johnson $10 million. Yes, Paul Manafort gave them election information. Yes, Tucker Carlson basically lives in Russia now, and hey. Edward Snowden lives in Russia. I don't know how I feel about Snowden. Some people he's a hero, some people he's a traitor. I think it's more complicated than that. I don't know if he's either one. I think that he thought he was doing the right thing, but the way he went about it was a little fucked up. And then to run to Russia is like, it's like Julian Assange. Like, I never thought Julian Assange was a hero. I don't think that he's a complete villain either, but he's definitely not a hero. There's some people think, he's a hero. They're like, not really, because I said the way he went about doing it was kind of shady. And people went to prison while he didn't. The whole thing is, I guess it's the thing. It's like, did the ends justify the means? Was it good that information was exposed? Probably. In the long run, yes. But he was also, embedded with, again, Russians. And it's like, it seems like Russia's behind a lot of shit. And then you like I said, when you bring it up, they go, "Oh, it's all a hoax." You know, well, Snowden was an intelligence analyst, um, and during the time when they made all those laws after 9/11, when they started spying on people, um, so basically they were spying on everybody. But not like spying, like there's guys sitting in the room, but they had like machines on there, listening for keywords and things. And if you said any of the keywords or phrases, then they would turn on this surveillance and be, surveil you, and this surveillance and be, surveil you, and then think, are you a terrorist? Are you not a terrorist? Like if you ask me, it was just like the COVID, where like, um, people realize there's a problem, but they don't know how to solve the problem, so they just start throwing shit against the wall. You know what I mean? Like they go, we got a terrorism problem. Like, really? 19 guys came into the country, got flying lessons, did did a whole basically military operation, and nobody knew that this was going on, and that's why they were able to hijack these planes and fly them into the tower. And so after that, the government was like, "Oh my God, we got a serious problem. What are we gonna do?" And so they were like, "We need to turn on the surveillance," and they passed all the Homeland Security Acts, and they started surveillance. This time was an intelligence analyst, and he was like, "Well, this isn't right what they're doing," but instead of like calling like the New York Times or somebody and like Deep Throat in Watergate when he like set up some channel with a journalist to put out this information, he just basically put it out. I think I'd have to look it up like exactly how he did it, but he did not whistleblow in like the proper way. He just said, "I'm just gonna put this out," and maybe he wiki leaked. Maybe he called Assange and was just like sent him all this shit and he put it out. I have to really look into it because it was a long time ago. I don't remember all the details. But then they were like, Snowden is a traitor. Half the country was like, he's a traitor because he's putting out this information. And so he ran away because he thought he would be arrested, which he would have been, I'm sure. And then Putin took him in, and now he lives in Russia. What you have to understand is there's a shadowy web between Julian Assange and Russia, which has never really been... it's pretty obvious that there's a web between them, but because half the people think that Assange is a hero, they look the other way on that. They act like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. And it's like, well, he was kind of working with our enemies, like he was definitely working with our enemies to stop Hillary Clinton from becoming president and help Trump the first time. See, there was a whole Russian operation. See, this is what people don't want to understand, but it's the fucking truth, is that there was a whole Russian operation to keep Hillary Clinton from becoming president and to elect Donald Trump, because Hillary Clinton was no fucking, she don't like Russia. And that ain't no secret. She's old school. Russia is the enemy, and she would have been hard on Russia. And she would have helped them push out of Crimea is what would have really happened. Yes, we're on the internet. Like, this available, like obviously I don't care, because that's what I think is funny. All these people that used to bitch about surveillance, they're all TikToking and YouTubing, and it's like, dude, you just and everybody's the Truman Show now. Everyone's life is their own reality show that they're living in. That's why reality TV is so popular, I think, psychologically, because the phones and the internet have made, like, look, I'm doing this. Why would I think, oh, people want to hear me talk for an hour 3 times a week? I said before, I'm doing it mostly for me because if I just sit upstairs, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. But um, I also believe that, like I said, that we need voices. Uh, the right has all this space covered. You know, they got, like I was saying yesterday, Will Kane. I guess Will, from what I gathered, Will Kane was a podcaster that they just gave a show on Fox. Um, so yesterday when he was talking about the news, he's like, and he's bringing on these guests, and he brings on these dudes. They're podcasters. There's three dudes, two guys with mega hats on either side, and some dude with sunglasses, and said "Ruthless Podcast," on the back. And you're like, this is what we become. Like, it's an insulated, circular. No, I'm not saying it's not great, Costello. Streaming is great. I mean, I'm doing this, and you're watching me, so I mean, obviously, and I've made $10 off it. I'm getting paid now, so maybe I am a professional. I don't know if these videos have anything to do with that, because I mean, I can only gather that they do because I never got paid before, and I was getting way more engagement online than I get now. And since I started doing these videos, I started getting a little bit of money from them. And I think it's because y'all watch for minutes, and that so many minutes watched, and they give you a dime or whatever. That's why I keep telling people, go to YouTube. And if you're watching me on Facebook, go to YouTube, because YouTube pays more than Facebook, from what I hear. And like, I really want to be, popular on YouTube more than popular on Facebook, because Facebook banned me for life, and my Facebook profile ain't in my fucking name. That would be the most ironic thing, is if Adam Chancellor became famous because of Bruce Leonard's podcast, because Bruce Leonard got banned for life and had to. It's just a nebulous web of bullshit. Here's something that's funny. You want to know this? I'm going to tell you anyway, but this really happened. So I posted a meme on Facebook, right? It was a picture of Vladimir Putin holding Trump's tie, and Trump had like the GIMP, ball gag and thing on his thing, right? I don't know why Charlie doesn't watch it. I didn't ask him. But anyway, so Facebook immediately is like, takes it down, right? And they're like, they give me a thing like, oh, we've removed your post because you violated, it looks like you're soliciting sex or something like that. And I was like, I guess because of the ball gag and shit. And I was like, what? And so file an appeal, right? And the appeal I say, you misunderstood the post. It's a fucking joke. Okay? So about 10 minutes later, they say, oh, we removed we put your post back. We're sorry. We made a mistake. Okay. Right? So then I posted on Instagram, which is also Meta. And they immediately say the same thing. Oh, we took your post down because it looks like you're trying to solicit sex and blah, blah, blah. And I file an appeal, and I say the same exact thing. I say, you misunderstood the post. It's a fucking joke. And Meta comes back, oh, we've determined, we're sorry, but you violated the terms of, and I'm like, well, you just said I didn't violate the terms on the other platform, but now on this platform, you're saying I'm violating the terms. Same picture. That's the problem with social media and the way that they facilitate the content, is because it's arbitrary. There are no real hard and fast rules. They make it up as they go along, which is just what I was saying about the Homeland Security and about the COVID. Same thing. People go, oh, it's some kind of, that the masking and the 6 feet and all that and the shutdown was all a big plot. And it's like, it's not a plot. The plot is they don't know what the fuck is going on, and they're trying to make it up as they go along. And therefore, there's a lot of fucking kinks in the fucking plan because there wasn't a plan. It's that simple. People go, oh, it's nefarious. They want to make you wear a mask to control you. It's like, no, it's not like that at all. They said wear a mask because they thought that it would protect people from getting infected. But did it? Did it not? No one really knows. People still have that argument. But I'll tell you this. I worked at Vaughn's grocery store, and we had to wear masks, okay? And the whole time we were wearing masks, no one got sick. When they said, all right, the mask rule is off, everybody can take off their masks, a bunch of people got sick. Now, I'm not saying that's a scientific study. Are masks effective or not? Are they 100% effective? Probably not. But, people didn't get sick when we were all wearing masks. Yes, Julia, they have an AI filter in the post. Yes, and that's the problem. There's not a human being. Even when I got banned for life, you figured they're about to take your account away for life, right? And one that has a lot of engagement. At that time, I said Bruce Leonard page had a lot of engagement, had thousands of followers, and I said, you look at the insights, I'm getting millions of views of memes and the stuff I was writing, and so I was doing very well on the internet. Okay? And they say, oh, they're going to take this away from you for life. You figure at that point that they would say, okay, there's a human being you can talk to. But there isn't. There never was. As a matter of fact, they said you can put in a final appeal, and there's 30 days to adjudicate the case. And I put in a final appeal, and I never heard one fucking thing from anyone. In 30 days, they just wiped my account. It's unbelievable. And I still, you don't hear me bitching about Facebook censoring me and blah, 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 because I know it's their rules. The rules suck, but it's their rules. They're not censoring me. Like, I don't have a constitutional right to have a Facebook page. And if they want to take it away from me, they can. But see, that's not how the right works. They want to play a victim by every little thing that happens. Oh, it's a persecution. So that then they can turn around and persecute you by pretending that they were persecuted somehow and they have to get revenge, because that's all these people are, is vindictive, fucking hateful fucking pricks. That's basically their whole philosophy and identity. And then they used to tell people, remember all the time, these are the same people who used to say, people should pull themselves up by the bootstraps and stop playing victim, because that's how they justified their racism before, was like to say that these people just like to play victim, and there's no one holding you down. You're just playing the victim card. And then when equality became a little more equal, white people were all of a sudden like, we're the victims now. We're the ones that's getting discriminated against. Like, oh, that changed real quick, didn't it? Like, I thought you were all about pulling yourselves up by the bootstraps and stop making excuses. And now they're like, oh, DEI is keeping me from getting the promotion. Like, no, your shitty personality most likely is what keeps you from getting a promotion, because you're a fucking asshole. And that's the way it is. And they don't want to fucking admit that. So, right. And Questel says, nobody where I was masking, and you'd get attacked if you did. But see, out west, it was the opposite. Well, it wasn't the opposite, but there were a bunch of, jerk-off assholes. They were, I ain't wearing no mask. But the general rules were wear a fucking mask, in public and shit. And people mostly followed it. Like I said, they shut the whole city of Las Vegas down for a whole year. You think they'd do that? For some plot to control you somehow? Yes, let's lose billions and billions of dollars of revenue so we can control these people and keep in their apartment. It's like it's an insane concept that only fucking Alex Jones or somebody could come up with in their fucking brain. But see, the problem is everybody was sitting home stuck in their apartment staring at Alex Jones. And therefore he's digging into their brain like the brainworm that Bobby Kennedy had. And he's out telling them, oh, this is a whole plot. But the communists want you to wear a mask so they can take away your capitalism. It's like, yeah. Yeah, Julia, I feel the same way all the time. I wanted to delete my Facebook page again so many times, but I was like, I have all these followers that my loyal followers were on the Adam Chancellor. See, I wouldn't have you if I had done that. You know what I mean? Like, so for me, as an artist, I need it, even though it's like a deal with the devil. It's like, well, I don't really want to be involved in this, but if I don't have it, I got nothing. Like if I went to just YouTube, I would have 5 viewers, which I have. Thank you guys. I've loyal viewers now on YouTube, at least 5. I mean, sometimes it gets up high, like 18 or something, but my Facebook views, again, it says, sometimes it gets up to 100 or more, and sometimes, it averages about 50. But without Facebook, I wouldn't have those 50 people. You know what I mean? So, Kenneth and Martin and all these other people that chime in occasionally, they're watching the show, even if they're not commenting, because every now and then they just pop in and you go, oh, you are watching, And without Facebook, I wouldn't have that. So it's I can't just get rid of it, even though I want to. It's like what do they call it? When the parasite helps you. Symbiotic relationship. Yes, I know, Julia. You've been with me the whole time, and I love you for it. Years and years. There's a few people like you who've been with me from the very beginning. And I appreciate that. But I lost a lot of people. And they don't even know I'm around because Adam Chancellor, they don't know Adam Chancellor. So it just tells you, like, too, it's like, even if you have a lot of engagement and shit on the internet and all that, you got to keep at it or you lose it. Those people drop off and they're gone, so you got to keep them entertained somehow. Are you not entertained? I come here every 3 nights now to try to entertain you and inform you. And like I said, I brought Daniele. He's been a part of the show, and again, I want to thank him very much. And I love that man. I got to go, so it's been over an hour. I do want to say one thing though. Everybody's been going on and on and on about this Shadur Sanders thing, and there's all these fucking internet conspiracies about why he didn't get drafted, until the 3rd day at the 144th pick. And it's because you're not just drafting a dude, you're drafting a reality show, and a lot of these teams don't want that. That's what I believe. They should just back off a little bit on the mega publicity. I think they harm their own brand by being too aggressive about the marketing themselves as a fucking a thing. And to tell you the truth, Deion Sanders is just kind of obnoxious if you ask me. But anyway, thank you for hanging out. It got blurry all of a sudden, but I'm leaving anyway. So thank you. I love all of you, and please tell your friends about the show. Thanks, Daniele, again one more time, and I'm out of here. I'll be back Tuesday at 6 o'clock. This is Bruce Leonard Leans Left. Well, it's still legal. It's still legal, I believe, and hopefully it will be on Tuesday. Thank you very much, and good night.